Hello, and welcome to another video. We're going to follow up on the last lethality video that we had. This is the same queue session, so this is a day ago, from when I made that video. It's taking me a little bit to get through these, but should clear out most of my footage. So we've got 7 games here in this 30 minutes. Some of these are short, some of them are a little bit longer. But this video is going to showcase the importance of off healing and how finding the balance between healing and off healing is incredibly important. I know I've already made a video talking about that topic, but this is the perfect example of finding that balance. So for example, a lot of classes don't have a support option. They'll have like taunts and control options, but they won't have like off heal. So for example, lethality can have some control. It also has off heal cleansing, which is great, but when it comes to something like assassin, it pretty much just can taunt and CC. So like not healing on lethality would be like the equivalent of basically playing assassin juggernaut, something like that, just not taunting. Or like using your intercede and whatnot. So it's basically you're just not making full use of your kit, which is really silly. I'm not really a big fan of PTs running away, but it's not really a bad idea. Yeah, it's kind of silly, but to be fair, it was the only chance that he had. Anyway, so this match is a little unfair, but I want to showcase that this is not a match that should be close. And the main reason it shouldn't be close is because lethality is so tanky. If you actually self-heal yourself and actually hit your defenses because they're damage reduction based, you need to pop them early before you take damage, not after you take damage, because that's how you get killed. Same way it goes for PT. That's a concept that people have to learn. I already know that I am going to become a target because I already have volatile strike on me, so I'm going to roll and heal, try to stay healthy. Write out the rest of my revitalizers and my DR, pop my obviously new version of those. That way, pretty much all my tankiness is going to make it impossible for them to really do damage, so I'm going to stay healthy while their team's already dying. Then at the situation I don't have anything. So I do want to start running and healing, and the only reason I can really get away with this is just because their team has already killed 2 people. Normally I wouldn't play this aggressive and blow everything that I have, but I already know that they're not going to be able to close the gap on me with just 2 players. This is also how the rest of our operatives should be playing too, honestly. Unfortunately, they're kind of popping their stuff a little too late. I'm not quite sure if reflective agent can actually miss. I'm pretty sure it is considered a damage type, and it probably could miss because damage reduction does affect the damage that the reflect would have done. So I have a feeling that walking into that stealth scan while popping its reflective agent probably lowered the value there. Now we gotta switch teams here. They get a tank, which is pretty good for their comp. I mean, so they can all feel like crazy and just win the game through like brute force, just of healing. And we have to basically try to do more damage to them and also turtle up. So what I'm doing is drawing attention of the enemy team. I want them to hit me because I'm the most durable. And then I'm going to focus on trying to keep our PT up, because it's going to be more important for me to keep the PT up than prioritize all my damage. Like I'll still do my toxic haze spread and whatnot, but for the most part I'm going to try to prioritize the PT over damage, and then when PT is okay, I'll just do damage. So this is where having that balance of knowing when you should do damage, when you shouldn't. Then we kind of like traded up again. I believe like next match, we get the tank. Yeah, I think the next match we do get the tank. So kind of just playing, what is it, hot potato? Or no. Was it magical chairs? I don't know. You just like switch it up. I feel like I didn't do any healing there, but I still did 10k, so I thought that was pretty funny. But it goes to show how strong lethality actually is. And I would very much so like to play something else in Arena, but the problem is most of the time I'll get players that just have no gear, no idea what they're doing. And it's kind of frustrating to be playing something like Juggernaut or some of the other weaker classes I like to play. Pretty much all my mains are not very good in Arena, except for this one. Sin is kind of like the exception, but Sin has its weaknesses. Like obviously if there's a healer or a tank, the match could be like way worse. For Assassin, Assassin really thrives on just 4 DPS games. I'm honestly surprised our operative didn't just flat out die there, but we're still okay. We did more damage this round, so we're able to relax a little bit. Our operative actually recovered, and now I'm just focusing on supporting the BT, and then them hitting me is whatever. I still have my med back, about to have a Zord back, which I do take the 5% heal when that collapses. And then also when that collapses, by the way, you get the damage reduction. And this is when they start stalling out the matches to lower the HPS and DPS, so I can't even get satisfaction through that anymore. Which honestly just made me want to queue up more to continuously do this, because, you know, like if you're not going to learn and you're going to take my satisfaction away from me, then kind of deserve it. I'm not going to lie, kind of deserve it, especially when they are duo queuing, which I don't have too much of a problem with. There are certain duo queue compositions that I think are absolutely busted, but I'm not really gonna complain about it. I think it's fine. But I would say a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with me when, you know, I play like a tank and a DPS or something, and people probably wouldn't be okay with that. Or if I played like lethality with somebody, it wouldn't be so fun. Or double lethality. Honestly, that would be like very unfun levels of gameplay for the enemy team. But maybe I'll have to do it sometime just for the fun of it. Obviously the games would be completely landslide, but you know, sometimes there might be a 4-man or something. Though I'd much prefer to just play basically 4s. That's kind of like a funny way to say it, but tank kill is honestly the only mode that I really care about in Arena. I don't care about these kind of matches. I think these matches are meme and they're never going to be truly competitive. A lot of these classes don't have balance, and there's no way to make them balance in a 4 DPS arena, and on top of that with tanks and heals randomly showing up, it just increases the odds of random, like, unbalanced matches. So while it is fun and stupid fun at that, when it comes to actual competitive play, this is just this is just an abomination. I'm not gonna lie, to be completely honest, it's a complete abomination. It's not competitive by any means. But if you want to play something that's actually competitive, play tank heal Arena, go 4-stack. People are not going to be happy about it, but honestly, that's the only way you can respect the mode as truly competitive. And until other people also make a 4-stack, you know, I'm just going to run over the queue. And that's not going to be fun for a lot of people, but you know, the moment that you get a 4-stack versus 4-stack, it's going to be pretty fun. Or if you get a tank heal versus tank heal, and you know all the players are competent, sometimes there'll be solo queue healers or solo queue tanks, or a tank heal duo that are competent enough that you can have a fun match, especially if you get 2 decent DPS. And I think those games would be ultimately way more worthwhile and way more fun than playing games like these where this PT gets absolutely annihilated in the opener. And sure, he could have done something, but he just reacted a little too slow. And this is why you kind of like take Culto Breaker and you pop Culto early. So as soon as you get triggered or Culto, you can survive off of that. The way the Culto works, which by the way, a lot of mercenaries still don't know this, when you pop it, you can pre-pop it and you can have it active on you. The longer it ticks, the more that it's going to heal and the faster it's going to heal you. So what you have to do in those situations is try to survive the first second or two when it's procced. And then after that, you can kind of just let it do its own thing. You don't have to actually self-heal yourself. You can just let it go, and it'll actually keep you high in health. However, if you're taking a massive amount of damage, you might still die through it. But for the most part, usually after a second or two, you're able to just ride on it, and then just not waste GCDs on healing yourself, and focus on damage. And then, as it's about to fall off, then you can start healing yourself to get your health back. That was a major thing for like solo ranked 12 mercenaries too. Like they would always just spam their heal when they're like sitting on Culto. It's completely redundant. Like your Culto's already gonna keep you safe. You might as well just take the time to get some damage out. PT has the same concept for the most part. Obviously you can't self heal yourself, so it's a little bit more timing based, especially since it's Culto is not as good. So you really do have to focus on how you pop your Culto, when your Culto is up, when it's sufficiently healing you, and when it's going to fall off. Because if you don't react when it's going to fall off, you're just going to die. This Sorcerer ended up getting globaled last round more than once, so I was letting this guy, you know, might want to take some damage reduction talents or something, or force speed, because he is not living at all. I believe I was telling him that I might not be able to keep him alive this time. He's going to be focused on the PT. In this situation too, I'm just making myself a target. More than confident that these Lethality Operatives can't do anything to me, and I'm not scared of the Arsenal Merc just because I'm playing Lethality. Lethality is just insane. Not a super fan of pulling the Juggernaut out in the open. He probably could have blindsided, so at least the guys couldn't throw dot on him and arsenal damage on him. But, you know, it just happens. We still get the kill. It's fine. I'll feel him. Typically, if you're going to pull somebody as PT, especially in an opener like that, I like drag them into like the HUD or around the corner or behind some line of sight or something. Especially since that Juck didn't even try to run away. Make it a lot easier for me to heal you if you're not getting nuked by Arsenal. Arsenal is like the scariest thing for AP next to Carnage. Then I concealment too because they get a decent amount of armor pin. And then also you have the what's that, Annihilation, just because the auto crit on your dots for Annihilation absolutely shreds pretty much anybody. And then in this situation I'm trying to keep him up, but man, like the PT is important, but also I need to do damage. They're just dying. When I'm, you know, at this point I'm like, what do I do? Do I, is it PT? Do I just do damage? Is it the Sork? In my opinion, it's always the PT. Especially since we're playing Lethality. That means he's getting passive heals from the AoE, so it's not as bad for him to survive compared to like the Sork. Sork has better self-healing, so if he's actually pressing buttons, he won't need my help as much. Also, in a round like that, Synox shots is actually not a bad tactical. Anytime that you're playing against a mercenary, Synox shots absolutely goes crazy. So feel free to swap to that tactical if you ever feel like you're going to be stuck single targeting. You will still have decent AoE with Synox, so don't feel bad. If you ever feel like you need to, or it's going to be a single target game, I recommend that tactical over anything else. Then you can also even take like utility tacticals like double hollow stride or hollow traverse or whatever it's called. Hollow locate's sniper. Hollow traverse, I think. And there's some niche tacticals I could use. But I think the Sentinel Shock is probably just going to give me the best damage for single target. And since your Crystal Assault is going to be your main killer, having extra damage on Crystal Assault allows you to execute people a little bit better. Unfortunately, PT is absolutely screwed here. They just happened to focus up a lot better, and they actually came to us instead of waiting, which is really important. Making the enemy react to you is a lot better most of the time, unless the enemy team has like a lot of burst opener. For whatever reason, it's just like scientifically proven. When people are forced to react, like that whole aggro playstyle has just a higher chance of winning. People are more prone to making mistakes when they're not prepared. Now we get into a double tank game. However, I don't really think either of these tanks are probably too crazy in this situation. I know to pretty much just kill our jug, but I realized that there's not a fourth player on their other team, and they backfill late. I guess the Martin guy had not made it into the match or was AFK. So I kind of just focus on healing rather than DPSing. Obviously I can DPS, and I do a little bit of dance, but for the most part, I'm just trying to heal and be less so of a nuisance. Putting my toxic haze down and some of my spread just because, you know, might as well. But for the most part, just trying to focus on healing and let them cleave on me so they can at least get damage, because I feel like this is unfair for them and I want them to have at least somewhat fun instead of just, you know, taking a fat L and not even being, you know, semi-sportsmanlike about it. Some matches are just going to be unfair. I need to always be super sweaty about it. It's not really even sweaty, it's a normal way that I play, but a lot of people do consider it sweaty. But I totally do realize when these matches are like that, it's just not fun. And when people take it super seriously, it's like, okay, this is your first time winning or something? I make it clear that, you know, dude, you don't have to stall every single game. Like at any moment there, I could have just tunneled him, I could have just CC'd him on cooldown, I could have just made sure that we killed him first. But don't do that in any of these matches at all. Had that not been stalled out and they did a little bit more damage, probably took out a lot more healing, but this is just how certain people are these days. It's really unfortunate, like you can't have fun like in a lot of modes just because of the way people play. It really goes back to playing 8v8 sometimes. Like I'll queue up and I'll get tunneled by an entire enemy pre-made, and then the pre-made of my team won't assist me. But it's just like I have to 1vx and I'm solo queued. It's like, why do I have to get punished for the sake of other people? Especially if I play something bad, like not very good, and doesn't handle like being tunneled very well. And then when I play something that's good, it's just like, oh, nobody wants to play, and everybody will basically throw the match in a way that the highest damage will be very low, just because nobody wants to die, which is just pathetic to see, honestly. I happened to just sending it down mid over and over. That was the fun part. We're all here for combat, are we not? Why are we so scared of dying? Makes no sense to me. Also had a game that I tried to queue up today, and there was a 4-stack on my team that declined. Or not declined, but they got into the game instead of declining. They got into the game and they were like, oh yeah, we don't want to play against these guys. We're leaving. And I'm just like, really? You're a mitigation tank. You have a healer. At 2 DPS. Why are you leaving the match? Like, I felt that game could have been fun. We had 2 healers, they had 2 healers. It would have been fun. I'm pretty sure they only had 1 tank, so it would have been fair. And then this round's a little bit more respectable, but you know, eventually when people realize that, you know, I'm not the enemy, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm not trying to make this like a match where I only want to just kill them and just win. The audio is kind of really bad out of sync here, sorry about that. I still don't understand what the cause is. I think it's the video update. It's like I've tried things to try to fix that, and it's a problem. We get a decent amount of damage out in the opener, and then we get the healing again. Like just like concealment. If you guys have ever played concealment, like you get your combo off, and then you'll like probe heal, like run away, stall, line of sight. Lethality has the same general concept, and obviously after lethal strike you can roll heal. After lethal strike you should be getting ready to re-up your probes. It's just kind of like how the flow is. Pretty much every toxic haze is a good indicator of if you're using it on cooldown at least, when you have both of those back up. Or you need to refresh your probe. Same thing goes for like medicine healer too. If you're not great at it and you're not really getting controlled very much, just use your toxic haze on cooldown, and pretty much every time you use it, you'll have to be reapplying your dot, or not your dots, but your hots, your probes. But thankfully they made it even easier to play medicine than before by giving you, I think it's like 2 extra options now to refresh your probes. And in this situation, they really don't need this much time to reset, but I think they're just stuck in combat with us. And typically, you know, if this was solo ranked and whatnot, we would be chasing them down. We wouldn't be letting them do this. This is just courtesy kind of situation here. Because we're already in a match where we're mostly playing against the same people at this point. We might as well, you know, have a little bit more fun. Play a little bit more of the game rather than not play more of the game, if that makes sense. A little bit more, but overall, like, you kind of like get the gist of Lethality as a whole, kind of like how these matches go. These guys are getting terrible luck, but also at the same time, like, they're just not off healing. If you're gonna play double Lethality, you have so much off healing potential. If I can solo heal 10k without nerfing my damage too much, these guys could easily be doing like, let's say like 20k. Maybe if they're not really good at it, maybe like they're at least doing 10k, they're at least doing 12, 13k. That's going to be a game changer. It's just doing 10k by myself is enough to turn the tides. So if they actually just start off-healing, they change the game completely. And it's not like, oh, off-healing is bad or anything. It's literally part of lethality. Lethality to its core. Hell, I played lethality in solo ranked and like even 4.0 and 5.0. I didn't play much ranked at all in 4.0 and 5.0, but I did keep it. Lethality was like one of the classes that I really enjoyed, and if I did play operative, lethality was my preferred choice. Obviously I did play concealment too, but you know, I played it before lethality was good. Same with PT. I played PT before it was good. It was technically kind of always good, but you get the ideal. The whole kit for like lethality back then, it was like you had to off-heal, and if you didn't, just kind of throw it. It's crazy too to think about the old kit. You had orbital strike, you had crouch, you had snipe. Something else that you had that was really funny, I can't remember off the top of my head. Like PT had unload. Those are better times, honestly. But I like the progression of the game, like the pace of the game, like that change. But at the same time, I really do think that this game would be better off with having a lot of our buttons back. Catering to the casual audience of like pruning. I don't think that's a good thing. It removes depth and ability to kind of like play the game. And it also creates a lot of balance issues. And if they're concerned with like balance issues with like assassin tank durability, there is actually a lot of things that they could do to avoid that situation as a whole. There was no need to like really remove force speed absorb. They could just make it not work against PvE, or just make it not do anything in PvE. But there's a lot of options that they had that they probably could have done, but they just saw it as not worthwhile. And then same thing with like Shroud. Shroud is just too strong in PvE. You know, like you could nerf Shroud from PvE and make it only a 50% chance. And there's so much stuff that they could do to nerf it without gutting its PvP potential. So really just like removing all these abilities, if they were to come back, it would just be better all, or overall. Also at the same time, you know, removing damage reduction from medicine is just a terrible move, and removing so many abilities from Marauder was overkill. Like there's a lot of problems, and I hope that going forward, you know, for balance changes, meta changes, stuff like that, we can start seeing some of the abilities come back, and or talent reorders. I think talent reorder would be a huge one. And then also maybe even like introduce brand new abilities to the game that will replace old ones that are gone. That would be great. That would be a huge addition to the game to make it better. So for example, Ruthless Aggressor being gone, Fast Fight gone, giving Marauder an actual defensive that would mean something would be cool. I don't really know what they could do. I do think Cloak of Pain could just be made better. I think like making new abilities is a little difficult, but re-adding old ones is pretty straightforward. Most people are already familiar with them. Like if they never pruned anything, even like 3.0, like think Assassin with force speed absorb, having all of its abilities spike and whatnot. Phase walk, that would be a huge one. Like, Assassin would be absolutely nutty if it had everything still, but you know, they took things away. I feel like when we had our core kit, we had pretty much everything. I think that's when pruning would have been useful and make us select things. But the problem is that they prune so much that, you know, the classes don't even have that much to, you know, take away from. So some things get taken away that are completely vital to the class that didn't need taken away in the first place. Like Assassin's not having Shroud baseline is insane. Marauder's not having Undying baseline is insane. Not having the option to take Ruthless Aggressor / Pacify is another crazy one in my opinion. You don't see Lethality Operative having to pick revitalizers. You don't really see PT having to pick shield for power yield or anything like that. So it really just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you guys again soon.